Still see some folks joining, but we're at 2 after, and I want to be really respectful of everyone's time. So let's get started. Hello, happy Monday, everybody. Hope everybody who is toward end of day has had a great day so far, and those like me who are just starting, hope it's a good day for you. Let's start, as we always do, with the backend team. Who is Eric? Are you on point for?
Yeah, that'd be me.
Awesome.
Happy Monday, everyone. So last week we released 1.96.1. Note that the 1.96.0 was skipped due to some issues with releasing, which I won't bore you with. So the stuff in that is things like support for multiple receipt workers, some new module APIs, and a bunch of small performance improvements, and then the usual tranche of bug fixes. We also released the Synapse S3 storage provider module to fix some incompatibilities with the newer dependencies of Synapse. So hopefully that should resolve some issues. Also excitingly, support for asynchronous uploads was finally merged. And thanks to Summer Evans and Beeper for driving that forwards and landing that. And yeah, that's us, and going to be similar for next week as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Eric. Next up, account portability and Dendrite. Devin?
Yep. So last week, we got the MSC 4080 up with cryptographic identities. So it's still in draft. There's still a few endpoints that need to be fleshed out and implementations made for those. Keegan's been working on Confluent Crypto, which is a end-to-end encryption test suite for REST SDK, JS SDK, and integration between the two, and just general anything which does end-to-end encryption in Matrix ecosystem. And coming up this week will be kind of more of the same, kind of fleshing out that MSC with the additional endpoints, testing, using Confluent for the cryptographic IDs, and more of the Confluent crypto tests as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Devin. Next up, we have the spec with Travis.
Yeah, hopefully this microphone is operational. So yeah, there are a bunch of new MSCs. Take a look at them, including 4080 that Devin just mentioned. On the spec update side, we have Matrix 1.9 coming out next week on Wednesday. So if we have missed anything that you think we should have in there, please let us know urgently so we can get that going. On Matrix 1.10, the next release afterwards, we're now open to suggestions for what we should be focusing on. These don't need to be complete MSCs. They can be ideas, but we do need some sort of evidence that somebody will be able to work on them. The spec core team isn't capable of doing implementation, but we are capable of making sure that the process is honored. So far we have extensible events, encrypted app services, custom emoji and stickers, which does also include its dependency on the authenticated media stuff, which I forgot the MSC numbers for. But yeah, if you have anything, just drop by our office room and say hello.
Thank you, Travis. Next up, who is on deck for VoIP?
Hello, that's me today.
Thank you, Florian.
Sorry. Last week, end of last week, we released a new version of Element Call, which now has a new feature that we keep the screen sharing state while switching from one SFU to the other SFU in case we need to switch SFUs. At the same time, this is a fast forward to the latest and greatest. We observed a regression on the .10 release, which we investigated, but in the meantime didn't find a good lead. But however, a fast forward to the latest and greatest, also in terms of LiveKit SDKs, we were not able to reproduce the same regression. So fingers crossed that we're now on the safe side here. On the Element X side, embedded mode works as expected, and we also tested the individual and rotating end-to-end sender keys. And now with the latest Element Call release, the widget is also deployed to live. challenges I already touched here, and the other one is also from last week. On the element call side, we have two interesting PRs in flight. One is while we are waiting on the new UX design, which we're currently implementing, we fixed at least some of the issues we have, and the one which is here is the jumpy speaker tiles in the spotlight mode, which we quite often observe while screen sharing. And the second one is that we switched also, like the web team, to Localazy in favor of WebBlade. And we are working on a new MSC indicating call ringing state and notifications. And in that area of work, we also currently work on a fallback to local timestamps in case there is a bug or not transmitted H event in the what was it? The field, the unsigned field of the events or call events. Yep, that's it in a nutshell.
Excellent. Thank you, Florian. Next up, Johnny with Rich Text Editor.
Hello. Quite a lot this week. So I'll start with Rust, which covers all the platforms. We've enabled a few different types of matrix URIs for mentions that weren't previously enabled. On iOS, we've fixed a long-standing issue with dictation. So you should be able to talk into the editor now, I believe. And I've just seen a PR coming in for another fix, which where the cursor was in the wrong position. And then on Android, we've enabled auto capitalization. We fixed an issue with the cursor position again. We fixed a crash during state restoration that was presenting on Element X. We fixed an issue where line count was briefly reported incorrectly, and another one where numbers were disappearing, which was quite annoying if you were using particular FOSS keyboards. And under the hood, we're now taking screenshots when the UI tests fail, and we fixed the long-standing flakiness on the UI tests, so they should work reliably now. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Johnny. Next up, Andy with Element Web and Desktop.
Hello. Yeah, we've been, you might have heard recently, we've been working on room header and right panel new designs. We're focusing in on that to the point where we want to make it the default instead of being behind a labs flag. Please do try it out, give us feedback using the labs flag that's listed in the notes. We've also been continuing with improving our release process so that we waste less time faffing about with releases and spend more time writing code. And that's gone well. That seems to be working. And we've continued our long and difficult work on fixing stuck notification bugs. We've got fixes that we're feeling pretty good about that will be coming out in the release in 2 weeks from today. And we're also rewriting some of the underlying code to have the correct structure to represent receipts the way that they're written in the spec. So that will take a little while, but that is also going to be key to fixing the remaining bugs. And the first PRs for the first part of that are approaching the time when they're going to be reviewed. So that will be coming along. Other news is that I'm moving onto the crypto team from the Element Web team, so someone else will be reporting the status. But the commitment to fixing stuck notifications from the team and also from me remains. So that's it for us.
Thank you, Andy. Okay, next up, Benoit on Element Android and Element X Android.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. So on Element Android, just a note to say that we are investigating an issue about long-running incoming call, even if the call has been answered somewhere. So a first fix has been proposed, but there is still some issues on some devices. So we are investigating this. Regarding Element Text, we are working on stabilization at the moment. So we are fixing bugs. In particular, Marco has implemented the fact that the voice message playback is stopped if the event gets redacted. So just an example of what bugs we are fixing right now. There are two changes in the timeline. We are now rendering the read marker, which is provided by the SDK, and also the read receipt. The read receipt are still behind a feature flag because it's not quite stable, and in particular, they don't update. They are not live. There are some issues remaining on the SDK side. And yeah, one particular note which is interesting, the CI is now building the SDK much faster than before. The gain is awesome. Previously, we need up to 5 hours to build the SDK version of the library. And now it's only 20 minutes, so it's really a game changer. And yeah, at last we are writing more tests. The current code coverage is 63%, just for the app part of Element X, so not counting the SDK. And we want to target 80% of code coverage. So we are figuring out what tests should be written, and also how we can test more part of the code. That's it for Element on Android.
Fantastic. Thank you. Great work there.
Thanks.
Next up, we have Doug on Element and Element X iOS.
Hello. So on iOS last week, we made two changes. One, we fixed an issue with Jitsi where if it was a moderated call and the moderator cancelled the call, it wouldn't hang up. So that should now work. And we've spent some time working on upgrading the rich text editor so that all of the things that you've been hearing about over the last few months will be available in Element iOS as well as Element X. One thing to note is that that's going to increase our deployment target to iOS 15 as a minimum. So I think the version that's out now is likely to be the last one that supports iOS 14. Then for Element X, it's mainly been a week of bug fixes and stabilization. I think the most interesting things we've done are there's now a dark or light mode override setting in the advanced setting screen. So if you like to run your phone in light mode, but Element X in dark mode, it's now a thing. We're adopting compound icons in more places, so you should see the look is starting to become a lot more consistent throughout the app. And we show ongoing calls in the room list, so you can see if there's a room where you can go join a call. And then read receipts, some work has been done on them. They're now properly exposed to VoiceOver, and I think we're almost ready to enable the feature flag for everybody on those, so that should be great. And similarly to Android, we've put in some time to look at speeding up SDK build times. I don't think we're going to see anything near as exciting increases as Android have, but hopefully we'll be able to build ours on CI as well, which would be really nice. So yeah, it's more of the same this week. We should have a release candidate tomorrow. And hopefully after that, we should be ready to enable Xcode 15 support on the project too. So that's iOS.
Excellent. Thank you, Doug. Next up, we have Kat with QA.
Hi, folk. So we've still got test coverage creeping up slowly on Element X. Thank you very much, both teams, for working on that. On the QA team, last week, we were debugging some issues with Kiwi, which is our test case management software that we use. We've also started planning a testing environment for FOSDEM 2024 so that we can make sure that everything's working smoothly before we deploy. And also we had an internal testing workshop on Element X and looked at our defects. One of the things we were looking at is whether we can introduce any further automated testing to decrease the defects which are being reported. So lots of work going on around that. This week, we have a lot of things to test before doing final sign-off on Element X, and we're going to be doing a little bit more work on improving defect tracking as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Kat. Next up, we have Matrix Rust SDK with Demir.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, last week I was away, so I'm not totally sure what was going on, but it seems that work on the extensions has been going on, and we paved the way for making read receipts, working with Slang Sync, and a couple of more bug fixes. For this week, I need to merge my backup PR that has grown into the 3,000 lines size diff, And then there's another recovery PR that adds a nicer API on top of the backup support, which ElementX is actually using. And more work on the extension stuff and yeah, just usual bug fixes and refactoring coming up. That's about it.
Excellent. Thank you, Damir. Looks like we might not have anything for hydrogen this week. Next up, we have encryption. Who is on point for encryption today?
Yep, I'm here. It's Valère. So yeah, basically still a lot of work on WebR, working on
Your software unmuted, but at least I can't hear you. I don't know about everybody else.
I can hear him.
I can hear him.
Here.
Oh, okay. Just my end. My bad. Thank
Okay,
you.
sorry. So yeah, so a lot of work on WebR, so improvement on signing time, improvement on logs and res checks, investigating bugs and some fixes, and we're continuing work on MLS and authenticated backup in Rust. And that's the weeks of crypto. That's it for me.
Valère has finished.
Okay, thank you. Just in the bug report, not sure what was going on there. Thank you, Valir. Next up, half shot with bridges.
I'll be filling in for a half shot today. So last week was more investigation and contribution on the Go rewrite of the Mautic Signal Bridge, which has been coming along. And also coming up this week, and possibly within the hour, is a new hookshot release. And the leading feature of this release is the ability to add customizable responses to your webhooks. So there's certain services that won't respond. They won't play well with webhooks unless you respond back to them with a certain payload. And this release will let you do that. And that's basically it.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew. Next up, identity and authentication with Quentin. I'm working on pronunciation now, I promise you.
Yeah, that's close enough. So what happened last week is that I've been working on the Mass side to implement a bunch of the same option that Synapse has for upstream OIDC providers. So that includes being able to override various endpoints, also give human readable names to upstream IDP. So you have a screenshot attached to it if you want to see what it looks like. And also like polishing up this whole flow, making arrows more useful overall and stuff like that. Expect probably a release later today if CI is quick enough. That will include all those changes. Coming up this week, I might finally have some time to actually document those options to have upstream to set up upstream OAuth2 providers. I'm also interested in implementing the UI part of implement proper cross-signing reset, because it's kind of one of the missing features right now in the OIDC stack with Mass. We did the backend part of it last week. Now it's just about wiring up a UI to it. I'm also about to publish an MSC to fill some of the gaps that we currently have to make encrypted app services work with OIDC. So if you're interested in that and have opinions, feel free to reach me out about it. And that's about it.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Tib with advocacy.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon. Last week, FOSDEM, we actually have a dev room and a CFP for it, and we even have a stand, so it's a huge success. We will be meeting and gathering at FOSDEM, and we will be advocating at FOSDEM. We are not going to be just at FOSDEM, we are also going to be at the 37C7. I'm not even sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, but there will be some Matrix community out there, so we will have a presence at least. Other than that, a few experiments on the Matrix websites to experiment with how we can incentivize people to donate more. Those changes have not been merged yet because we want to give more visibility on what we are going to do before incentivizing people to donate. Talking about, we are still working on the roadmap, and I hope to be putting the final touches on the roadmap today, this week at least. And we will probably do a Matrix Live on pseudonymous identities and cryptographic identities. I'm sorry for that dog sound. If Devon and Keegan are up for it. And that's it for advocacy.
Excellent. Thank you, Tib. All right. So this is me reporting on Foundation things. So last week, wrapped kind of as expected, a lot of community engagement on the fork side of things. Wrapped up some proposed revisions on the governing board's terms of reference. Very excited about that. So we'll be reviewing that this week. Exploring ways to improve our contributor communities. So we've received some feedback around contributions to the spec in particular. And we're just looking at what can we do there. So that's a conversation I'm having with Travis and Tib, and of course more people will be looped into that as we continue that exploration. A exciting amount of follow-up last week with prospective and current community partners and members. So excited to see the engagement that the foundation is getting on that front. A little more on that later. And then, yeah, as expected, a whole lot of finance and contract admin last week. This week, I am excited. We've got training on the incoming regulations, just keeping an eye on the legislative environment, how that's changing in the UK and the EU and the US and any other jurisdiction that we're subject to. And expecting some more community engagement. This is a spicy time for us. Everything's okay, but it's taking a lot of time spent hearing people addressing their concerns and questions and figuring out what we do next. Specifically, just to not beat around the bush on this one, we've had an open issue from a community member since about 2019, wondering about the foundation's finances, and that reemerged yesterday. And so if anybody has any questions about that, we'll be happy to field those either directly or want to plug for the Office of the Matrix.org Foundation Room. Is a great place to have these kinds of discussions. Since the revisions of the governing board terms of reference are now done, actually looking to review those with the Guardians this week. So more on that soon. Hopefully work on blog posts and pipeline. We'll see how far I get with that because point of interest, this is a 2-day work week for me. In the United States, we have Thanksgiving. So I will be out Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But of course, if a conflagration emerges, I'm not far away. More exciting, we signed a new silver member at the end of last week. So thank you, Fractal Networks. And indeed, we have several prospective members in the pipeline right now, which I'm very excited about. Last thing, just a little bit of meta. So I know we've talked about the Matrix Sync itself a little bit. Now that I'm actually facilitating it, I am feeling more acutely the ways in which, like, oh, this could maybe evolve a little bit. So do expect some solicitation of feedback and some proposed changes before end of year because we want to start the new year fresh. And that's all I've got on the foundation side of things. Thank you all so much for your excellent work. I hope everybody has a great Monday, great evening, great weekend, great week. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.